What's up, brothers? Just kidding. Good evening and welcome to the show, chat. We got our Week 9 pick'em for you. Sorry I took last week off, took a nap, and I ended up falling asleep. So we're back in action and ready to rock and roll. I don't know where Todd and Aaron are. I'm joined by Quail Man and some random NFL referee. So we'll see if we can actually keep this show on the rails this week. But guys, hello. How are you?
Good, man.
Good.
How are you doing?
Good to see everybody.
Over here, Todd. Nope. Colder. Warmer. Warmer.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Carl Paganelli. Most recently, you've seen me on Thursday Night Football in the back of the end zone with 1 minute and 30 seconds left of the Vikings-Rams game.
Got it.
I didn't see anything, so happy to be here.
Carl.
Thanks for having me as a guest. Caught a lot of heat in national media. I finally found the courage to come on this very prolific podcast and say that I am vision impaired, and I'm going to take my talents to South Beach after this is over. So thanks for having me.
It all finally adds up. So thank you for nothing.
And I'm just a sub character from a childhood show from 20 years ago. So
got it.
Quail Man, but now he's entered the workforce and has been beaten down.
Yeah, your middle management, Quail Man.
Middle management, man. This should be an M. I'm just like, yeah, this is the most exciting part of my week.
P&Ls, huh? Am I right?
Yeah. Am I right? P&Ls.
Hilarious. Absolutely fantastic. You guys riffed there for a minute. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, obviously we've got some things to discuss from last week. The first couple games just obviously didn't go the way anybody thought they were going to go. Sorry, my brain, I'm tired. What was your guys' biggest shock from last week outside of Anthony Richardson being a complete piece of shit?
I can go. I'm gonna just take my Browns, man. Just coming out and beating the Ravens, even with everything going on, I still would have expected the Ravens to win that game. Frankly, the Ravens probably should have won that game, but that's not really how the NFL works. So I don't know if this is so much shocking as it is just reaffirmation that this team is competitive enough, especially in the way that the AFC is shaking out this year, that they should be in the mix. But our management or ownership refuses to acknowledge the mistake that is Deshaun Watson. But after one game here and six of the last 2 years in the games that Deshaun Watson has not started, Browns quarterbacks 6 out of 7 games have gone for 300 yards.
I saw that stat. That's unbelievable.
Immediately coming in for 300 yards. Apparently the receivers are just fine. Njoku's still pretty good. The Cedric Tillman guy is pretty good. Elijah Moore still got juice in the tank. Judy's just fine.
Cedric Tillman cost me fantasy last week.
Yeah, good. I think Jameis comes in and is AFC Offensive Player of the Week is just insulting to Browns fans, though.
Yeah. Fair enough. Carl.
Yeah, so big takeaway from last week was just bad teams winning games, teams that shouldn't have. There were a lot of heavily Vegas favored teams that did not win last week. That felt kind of weird. And then I'll just say it, Puka Nacua just basically barely practicing, and then all of a sudden on Thursday night coming back in and looking like he hasn't missed anything. The Rams, to me, went from a let's sell the farm and rebuild to we could probably win the NFC West in 1 week. Really. Like, you look at the way that NFC West is spread out right now. I'm not really certain where San Francisco stands. Obviously, they're pretty banged up too, and things are certainly being shifted around there. Seattle 2 weeks ago played the best of anybody in the league, and then sometimes they just don't play well, or sometimes they play worse than anybody else. So I think the NFC West is totally up for grabs, and a healthy Rams team looks like they could be right back into a wild card spotter in the NFC West winning poll. So
Gotcha.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, biggest thing for me, I don't know how much of that, Todd, I know you and I had discussed it quite a bit. That Monday night game, man, I don't know if anybody stayed up and watched that, but the officiating in that game was very interesting. Like both sides, more so on the Giants side than on Pittsburgh side.
A lot of picked up flags for no calls in that game too, which I thought was interesting.
There was a ton of laundry on the field. Like it was just kind of annoying to watch. It's just like, let them play football. We had that questionable call on Malik Neighbors for his illegal motion, which happens in every single game, every single day that football's on. That cost New York a touchdown, which I thought was bullshit. So I don't know, like Pat McAfee said it best. He's like, he was like, an elbow counts as 2 feet. Like a knee down counts as 2 feet, but 2 foots don't count as 2 feet. So, just really weird, man. Learned a lot about, I guess, things I thought I knew. So I don't know. Officiating just continues to be bad, and this illegal motion call is just getting out of control.
So Aaron, I'll take I'll give Aaron his kudos. So I spent a lot of, obviously the Bengals game went south pretty quickly in the second half. So
sure.
I switched them to the smaller TV and then the ticket to the bigger TV so I could watch those games, right? And be interested in something that wasn't, stepping on my dick over and over and over again.
Sure.
You're not into that?
Yeah. Not by my favorite football team. No,
I didn't know you could do that. You must have a giant.
Tiny feet. We're talking about. I think Monday night was a good example for exposure. You're talking about just officiating as a whole. It's not just your team that just gets fucking railroaded, right? Like, I watched a good chunk of that Jets-Patriots games. There were several penalties in that game, several non-penalties in that game where I'm like, New England squeaked back in based on some like weird circumstantial stuff, and Drake May went out pretty early. They still came back and beat the Jets, which that doesn't mean much as of right now, but just the lack of consistency on what's a hold, what's roughing the passer,
mm-hmm.
How do we determine pass interference? Because I watched multiple plays where cornerbacks back face to the ball ends up getting into some sort of physical contact with a receiver, no pass interference. And then I've watched multiple games where they're like, oh yeah, that's automatically pass interference. Like it's
right.
The lack of consistency. And obviously we've talked about it over and over and over again. And I just want to make the point that, your team's not the only team that just gets railroaded in bad situation or situational moments where it impacts the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much to my chagrin. I thought it was just the Bengals for all of my white life on this earth, and now I realize it happens to everyone.
Yeah, man, it's it's plaguing the league right now. We have talked about it multiple times, throughout the years that we've done this, and like there needs to be a change. There needs to be more consistency. There needs to be more training and coaching with these NFL refs, because it's just like it's stressful. Like, as a fan, obviously we talk about this and do this a little bit more than the regulars would, and I'd like to think we all have a pretty good understanding of the game and how it works. And week in and week out when we see these different calls, and it really questions my understanding of the game and what is and isn't a penalty. And it's just getting tough. Like, it's frustrating. Like, when you watch baseball, like, what is and isn't a call. You just know it's a shit call. You know it's a bad call. Like, but like in the NFL, it's just everything is just left to guessing, and you're like, oh, is that a penalty? Wait, they called that on us. Why is that not a penalty? Like, I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Carl, will stop beating you up too bad. So
What?
You're blind, not deaf, Carl.
Okay.
Oh
Sorry.
shit. All right. Well, let's recap the standings here. So last week, best record went to Tez at 11-5. Tez, you've been absolutely killing it this year. You do have the best record throughout everybody doing the pick'em here. So well done. You're at 80-43. Couple people in at 10-6, or I'm sorry, Todd, you were also 11-5 last week. And you have the second best record at 79-44. So excellent job as well. A few of us at 10-6, me, Josh, and Pops, putting me in second at 74-49. Ryan was at 9-7, 76-47 respectively. Aaron, you were also 9-7 last week, putting you at 72-51, and Corey 7-9. Tough week for Corey. He lost quite a few games and dropped down to third place. So right now it is sitting Todd, Bob, Corey, Aaron. And then in the chat it is Tez, and then Josh and Pops tied for second. Ryan in a close third, and Ariel is in. I haven't done his math yet because I don't have his last two games from last week, so I will do that later. But moving on, got an interesting game tomorrow night. We got CJ Stroud headed to New York to take on the Jets. Who are the Jets? I saw Devontae Adams come out and say that he's not a savior. He said that to the locker room in New York. I'm not a savior. You guys gotta pull your weight. What's going on with the Jets, guys?
They're not good. They're badly coached, and I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I think the big thing is we're seeing like the true back nine, right, for Aaron Rodgers. This is like natural progression for someone as they, spend 2 decades in the league that, the ball doesn't come out quite as sharp. There's some decisions that aren't quite what, this isn't 2-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. I know we're less than 10 years removed from him being back-to-back MVP, but this is a different quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. And, the Jets very much relied on their defense last year to win football games. And this defense isn't the same Jets defense as it was last year either. They're giving up more points than they give up almost 10 more points a game than they did last year. So I think this is just I guess just par for the course for the Jets, right? Like historically, they're, in our lifetime, they haven't been that good ever. So we're kind of just back in the same scenario where both teams in New York are underperforming and everyone's like, what do we do? How does this happen? When it's just a continuous revolving door of coaches and, star athletes. Like, no shocker here that the Jets are bad.
Yeah. So interesting matchup tomorrow night. Texans obviously banged up on the offensive side of the ball. Stephon Diggs going out with an ACL injury. And they are also without Nico Collins as well. I believe he's done for the season. Big saving grace for them. Joe Mixon, currently on pace for 1,700 yards and 17 touchdowns. If he continues to perform the way he's performing, which has been unbelievable. And then obviously you've got a Jets team that is going through a lot of shit. So, Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, I can't in good conscience take the Jets here. They're just, like you said, they're in complete disarray.
Yep.
Todd
That's
nailed
the
it
word I
in
was
terms
looking
of
for.
Todd nailed it in terms of what we're seeing out of Aaron Rodgers. I know years wise, he's not that far removed from MVP seasons, but he's also, I feel like at this age, you almost age like 2.5 years every year. Not to mention you're coming off of an Achilles injury. Devontae Adams wasn't, I don't think, supposed to be viewed as a savior. It was, I think they were hoping it was at the very least going to be some duct tape, and they were going to see this as like, all right, well, let's get the Rodgers Adams connection back. That'll at least be worth this stretch of the season. They can easily get 2 wins out of that. Guys, they lost to the Patriots last week. The Patriots had lost 7 games in a row coming into that. Six games coming in a row going into that. Now, sure, they looked a little bit different with Drake May. He didn't really play in that game, guys. It's what's going on there is a little bit embarrassing. It was a rough week for New York all around. Fine with it. Let's go with the Texans here. This is an easy pick for me, and also a Thursday night game that, unless you have any fantasy people involved, I don't really care about this one. This is a tune out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a good one to, at least for me specifically, and I'm sure Corey would attest to this. This is the perfect opportunity that once Declan falls asleep, that I absolutely ravish his candy and figure out what's mine.
Yeah.
Great background noise for me to take my dad tax. That's what this game is for me. Yeah, I think even without Diggs, without Nico Collins, he's still got Tank Dell, still has Dalton Schultz. We've already brought up Joe Mixon. That Texans defense, regardless, is tough, right? Like, ton of pressure on the quarterback. I think they're going to get to Aaron Rodgers several times, not saying several sacks, but a ton of pressure, bad decisions. It's just, Aaron's right. There's no reason to pick the Jets in this scenario. Even if you're in a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Why would you fade anybody, right? To pick
this isn't the game to do it.
Yeah, a bottom 3 team over the last 5 weeks, right? Let's call it what it is. So
yeah,
I'm taking the Texans here as well.
Yeah. I mean, do I think the Jets can somehow win? I mean, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. Could the Jets win this game? Sure. Is it likely? No. I'm going to take the Texans for. There's just no reason. The Jets cannot stop the run, and Joe Mixon has been running all over every single team that he's played against. So
I mean, chat does bring up a good point with Diggs being out, and obviously Collins already out. Seems like one more week they're going to have to go without Collins. But even with that, I still think they have enough offensive firepower to get through the Jets. Their defense just is not playing like they were last year.
Yeah,
this offense is scoring worse than when they had Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it's not good.
So thanks everyone for throwing your names in the chat. We're still having some technical issues.
Corey, we tried to log back in and resync it. It's just not working. So I'm gonna have to troubleshoot this a little bit further and see what's going on.
We'll get it figured out.
I believe names and everything are still working on YouTube. So if you guys have YouTube and you're willing to go over there and switch and watch over there, that would make things a little bit easier on our end. But obviously, the way you're doing it right now is just fine as well. So whatever you guys like to do, that is perfectly fine with me.
We're just happy you're here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're just happy you're here.
Always. But yeah.
Quail man.
Tez, yeah, this is a tough one. And what's up, my friend? All right. Let's move things along here. We have got the Saints taking things on the road to the worst team in football. And that would be the Carolina Panthers.
There was ever a game to not watch.
Yeah.
I think I'll even turn the channel on Red Zone when they cut in.
Nah.
Which will be twice.
This
right.
If this game pops up on Red Zone, this is where you go take your bathroom break. You go grab another beer. Maybe turn and just give the wife a little attention. Just say, hey, how are you? How's your day going?
Yeah, where's that charcuterie board? That's where that comes in. That's your crock-pot break. Just call it a crock-pot break.
Crock-pot break. There you go. Yeah, so we don't need to spend too terribly much time on this. I'm assuming everybody's got the Saints. I don't think anybody be brave enough to take the Panthers here. Is this the
only opponent where you can say that? You're like, obviously everyone has the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and I mean, maybe the Cowboys. We'll get to them in a bit, but
no, I think this is the only NFL team in the league where you can legitimately say the sentence, I guess everyone's going to take the Saints.
Yeah.
This is one that I already had pre-populated for everybody. So, yeah, it's not even a question. So we'll spend as much time talking about it as we will watching it.
Well, they lost Deontay Johnson. He's gone now.
Yeah. So
Xavier Legette season, baby.
Oh yeah. If they can get him the ball. All right. Next game, we got the Commanders taking on the Giants. And I'll tell you what, Giants defense is pretty
Their
good.
defensive front, their front four is a very
they are
unit.
very, very good. I mean, they got so much pressure on Russell last week. Like it was just like it was just frustrating to watch, man. Like, but I mean, they're that front four is just dominant. So obviously
that's
the Commanders
without Kayvon Thibodeau too. Like that's a big missing piece for them. I imagine when he comes back and he's healthy, him and Brian Burns off the edge is going to be pretty challenging when you couple that with old sexy Dexy in the middle. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, it just I was getting shades of what the Steelers were last year. Just a solid defense, but they couldn't put points up, and that's the Giants right now. Like they just can't score the football. We've had flashes of it, but the Commanders are no strangers to touchdowns this year. No strangers. They score a lot of freaking points. So, Commanders are on the road in New York. Oh my goodness! Look what we have here.
Oh, hey there, hippie bud.
What's going on, everybody, man? It's good to see you guys. It's good to be here.
Who is it?
My name is Flower Rain. It's a blessing to be amongst you all.
Thank you. Nice to hear your voice.
Thank you.
All right. We have, well, can you rain down some picks on us real quick so we can get you caught up?
Oh, absolutely, my brother. What do we have here for us?
God,
we can probably do it for him.
Yeah, so Texans on the road versus the Jets. I put you down for the Texans, and then Saints versus Panthers. Put you down for the Saints.
You know, we're one right now, and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, we'll let you lead this one off, Flower Rain. Commanders on the road versus the Giants. Who you got?
Jay Daniels coming back, I believe. Is that what I'm catching on the wind chimes these days, boys?
Jesus Christ.
Give me the Commanders.
Coming in absolutely hot. I love it. That's the energy that we needed. All right. Perfect. Anything else you'd like to add, or are we just Commanders and out?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, man. I just don't want to ruffle too many feathers here.
Fair enough. Todd.
Yeah.
You know, Flower, I would have thought you would have just thought Commanders was a little too, I don't know.
It is oppressive, man. It is oppressive. I don't like that name, man. But Giants.
Well, let me tell you what it used to be, Flower. I'm just kidding.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard to bet against arguably the hottest team in football right now, right? Like it's crazy to think that, you know, a Giants team that's somewhat reeling is going to come in and try to take on, you know, what this offense is doing. Now, Chicago did a nice job of slowing things down, and I think a little bit that has to do with Jaden Daniels not being 100%. That game, he played that game to win. The Giants aren't quite as much of a challenge, and on the positive side, I do think the Giants got a pretty decent running back out of that 5th round pick in Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Sure.
Runs the ball very aggressively, which is something that, you know, obviously he's fulfilling big shoes, not even quite the same, but it's a good stopgap for, you know, making sure you secure that top 5 pick.
Yeah, I think he left with a mild concussion at the end of that game as well. So status, I don't know, is 100% this week, but he was definitely impressive. Absolutely right. Quail Man.
Yeah, I think
Middle management, Quail Man.
Middle management. I've been beaten down by the corporate ladder. I am pretty sure I never even thought about this point, Todd, but how funny is it that the Giants were able to get a pretty solid running back in the 5th round after losing Saquon Barkley, who's also somehow doing really fucking good. But it kind of just goes to show you, like, yeah, you can replace running back. It's fine. That wasn't their problem or their success last year. It's just so it's a nice toy to have. But unless you're a team like the Eagles in free agency, where last year it's like, do you really need to spare that expense? No, they're getting great production out of them. I think that's a great point. We've touched on the Giants' defensive front, but guys, the Commanders are just a steamroller right now, and Jaden Daniels, offensive rookie of the year. I keep being more and more impressed by this team each week. And I know we keep saying, oh, this reminds me of the Texans last year. Honestly, this is a tad better at this point now to me. The Texans still had some growth. Keep in mind, CJ Stroud last year lost to the Panthers and Bryce Young. I remember that happening around like week 11 or 12. I'm so impressed with this Commanders team, and it just seems they can win any type of game if it's going to be a defensive game, which this surprisingly was for most of it. They're still somehow competitive, even though I don't think their defense is that great. But they all seem to be playing up right now and are into this. And the city's kind of come alive because they haven't been able to root for a team like this since that one Robert Griffin year.
Yeah, valid. Absolutely valid. All right. I do want it to be known that panel and chat are all on the same page for the first 3 picks. And last week, that did not work out very well for us. Just saying. All 3 of those games ended up being L's. So at least we're going down together. Right, Flower?
It's just so funny looking at Aaron just like speak seriously with a belt tied around his fucking forehead. That's silly.
All right. Well, let's move forward here.
Would you rather I talk like a 12-year-old boy?
Be pretty weird.
Those are your 2 options.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. We've got the Dolphins taking things on the road up to Buffalo. Obviously, divisional matchup. Tua back. Was he back last week?
Yeah.
See.
Okay.
I bet he was.
I couldn't remember if it was last week or he's coming back this week. Yeah, we got Dolphins on the road, Buffalo. Bills are playing some good football right now. So should be a good game. Carl, I'll throw it over to you, sir. Who you got?
Thank you very much.
Just make sure you don't call pass interference or miss it.
What?
Was that this guy?
Camera's over here, Charles. Carl, over here, buddy. Carl. Yep, down. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You're in frame. Just keep it there.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to take the Bills, fellas. There's no reason to there's no reason to fade this team right now. Why don't the Dolphins just try to run the ball more often? That's just a question that I'm posing to you guys. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I have Raheem Mostert. I would appreciate it. So,
I mean, they have 2 above average running backs, and yet they still just try to. I mean, Tua threw the ball, coming off of a pretty significant injury, threw the ball almost 40 times. Like, get the ground game going. Make it easier on the guy. Threw him right back into the fire.
So you're gonna have to fact check me here, man. But like, I don't want to spread misinformation, man. But like, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins don't they average like 7 yards a carry? They need to run the fucking ball more. You're right, Todd.
Yeah, it just befuddles me to see them just go away from something that's been wildly successful for them, and then them not running the ball in the second half of the game and continuing to give the ball back to Arizona is what pushed Arizona over the finish line against them, which is ridiculous. Like, you were in the driver's seat for 3 quarters. Don't stop running the ball. I'm taking Buffalo here, fellas. Josh Allen for MVP. That's the way it kind of currently stands for me right now. He did throw his first interception. So that streak's over. So I'm sure all 4 of us cashed on that because I've been betting it since week 3. So that was nice. I appreciate that. Thanks, Josh. And they run the ball well, and they give the ball to Jared Cook plenty of time. So I'm going to take the better coach team here in this situation.
All
Utilize
right.
your weapons.
Absolutely. Quail Man.
Yeah, Dolphins needed to win last week to keep their season alive, and they kind of just fumbled the bag there a little bit. I'll be honest, I thought seemed like they were going to win that game, no problem. It's amazing how different that offense is with Tua involved, though. And like Todd was saying, they need to run the ball more. They couldn't run the ball at all until Tua got back under there. I don't understand the difference. I know he gets the ball out insanely quick, which of course I'm sure is by design with how much they do not want Tua to be touched. But guys, the Dolphins have beaten the Bills one time since 2018. Once. They play twice a year. I'll take the Bills.
Cool. Flower.
What are the standings coming into tonight?
Yes. Okay. So we've got for us, Todd is in the lead 79-44. I am in second at 74-49. You were in third at 73-50. And Aaron is in last at 72-51.
You know, Flower, I didn't really peg you as a can I check the receipts kind of guy.
Hey, everybody else had the information coming into this, not me. All right. So just leveling the playing field, man. Equity, man. All right. Yeah, this isn't the one to fade you. Give me the Bills.
Yeah. This is there's no reason in any way, shape, or form for me to I mean, it's just a matter of time before Tua goes out again. So and he hasn't been around enough, and they don't you guys said it, they don't run the fucking football. Sorry for cussing. All right, that's all I got. So Tez needs your pick, and then we will move on to the next game. Next one is going to be the Chargers versus the Browns. Looking at you.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to I feel ridiculous doing this in this outfit, but I want to shout out Jim Donovan, who's been the longtime voice of the Browns, passed away from us last Saturday. Really, really tough one, guys. I like his voice has rang through this town for forever, and he's always been there. He's been battling cancer on and off for the last 8 years or so. I don't know how long specifically, but he's had to come and go pretty frequently over the last several years, and announced his retirement before the season, and that kind of seemed a little off, and of course we kind of see why now, and sucks, man. Absolute legend at what he's done, and it was really, really cool to see the Browns get a win the day after that happened. Kevin Stefanski was able to give the game ball to his family. It was a pretty cool moment. Interesting. I just decided prior, to that happening, I was a little over the Browns season. Hasn't exactly been an exciting season. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna go golfing. Kind of interesting moment because it's like an hour away. Didn't really care to watch the game too much, and just listen to the radio for an hour coming back and just listen to the guys tell Jim Donovan stories was pretty cool. In between dead balls, timeouts, things like that. And so shout out to Donovans. And again, I feel ridiculous making this comment in this outfit, but yeah, man, Jim, you'll be sorely missed here in Cleveland, and we're all heartbroken, for his family. So
absolutely.
With that being said,
Aaron.
Beautiful. Listen, we saw the lights turn on in Cleveland, right? Like I've been clamoring all year. This is not a bad team. It's a bad fucking quarterback who can't get the ball. Again, Corey, you weren't on when I brought this up at the beginning, but apparently our receivers are good again. You got Cedric Tillman going for 2 touchdowns. Elijah Moore seems just fine. Judy's good. And Njoku's good. Defense still just fine. Amazing when you give the defense a little bit of time to rest on the sideline, right? That being said, there were a couple Jameis balls that probably should have been intercepted that didn't necessarily happen. So it'll be interesting to see which way that pendulum shifts coming back. I'm going to take the Chargers. I think the Browns can win this game. I just think conditions were right last week for a win. You know how teams play against divisional opponents. Obviously, the emotional aspect of Jim Donovan, who's well loved and respected in that locker room.
Sure.
I also think Jameis ended up on the lucky side of a couple of bounces. I think it'll be a more exciting game. The Browns will show that they basically should have been in the AFC playoff picture if Deshaun was not our quarterback for the majority of it. But yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers here. It's tough to go back-to-back against the Harbaughs.
Tez, no worries, brother. Appreciate you swinging in. Who'd I miss? Todd.
Yeah, fellas, this Chargers defense, which last year was hilariously bad. We're talking about this is first in points against this year. Top 5, top 8 in yards against. Like, you know, you have a defensive-minded head coach that's calling your plays. He gets fired mid-season. You bring in Jim Harbaugh. All of a sudden, the defense is like all these signings, all these guys that they've drafted and developed. Like, it's all coming together, right? And this is a tough defense. And the thing that sucks is that their offense isn't great at putting the ball in the end zone, right? So everything's super tight with them. I'm kind of at a point with Justin Herbert right now where I feel like he's an overpaid quarterback in the league. Just basing it on, I haven't really seen him be the factor in them winning close games. I just see him being a quarterback distributing the ball to who's available, which, by the way, great coming out game for Ladd McConkey last week. I don't know if you guys got to bear witness to a little bit of that, but he kind of showed why he crept up very quickly in the wide receiver draft rankings from that top tier into that second tier. Yeah. I'm taking the Chargers here as well. I think the last 2 weeks have been really, really emotional for Cleveland, and I think that they're going to have a little bit of a come down this week. I understand that this game's at home. It's in Cleveland again, but emotions have just been ridiculous for that franchise. And usually when there's circumstances built around that, there's a come up game, and then there's everything kind of goes back to normal. I do think we see
thing too. Oh, sorry, Todd.
No, go ahead, dude.
No, I was just going to say, and even on the field, JOK had a pretty excruciating injury last week. He's going to be held out. Denzel Ward getting another concussion as well. Kind of an surprise, or one of the surprising things. I'm surprised. You know, we're not talking about it the same way we are Tua, but you know, frankly, we're talking.
Yeah, that's a 6-1, right?
Yeah. It's you wonder why some of these guys. And hey, JOK is a guy who plays with a Guardian cap, right? Of course, that wasn't exactly the injury he suffered, but yeah, I think, you know, if I don't know the stats behind it, to be quite honest, and I don't know that there's enough data to say one way or the other, but if there's any extra level of protection, I'm surprised these guys aren't taking it. But to your point, though, Todd, just to butt in is being in the know in Cleveland is on the field. They're not the same this week either.
Yeah. So I'm taking the Chargers here. They're somehow just they're kind of tagging into creeping up to the top of the AFC. Obviously Kansas City's undefeated right now, but they're hanging around in this early playoff picture.
Absolutely. Court.
Yeah, I think I got a fade you on this one, guys. I think
this is I think one of the closer matchups in this week.
This is an opportunity here for I'm not saying this Browns team to become contenders, but go on a little run. I do agree with a lot of the positive comments you know, both of you, but especially Todd, about the defense that the Chargers have made. But I just feel like the Browns, I took the over on the Browns this season, so I gotta hedge the bet, or double down on this one here and just take them, bet on them one more time to put this run together. And I think they can do it. Being at home, that place is gonna. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the emotions on the other side coming into Cleveland, kind of on this. That crowd's gonna be juiced, right? So
yeah, I think we're all still a little indifferent on the season, to be quite honest, because they look like they're going to be playing a lot better, but it's also like, well, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a tough
just
one
to give sentiment at least.
Because I don't know, man, that the Browns look like they can do something on offense now that they've got a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I have not been impressed with the Chargers in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, Ladd McConkey had a good game, but that's one game, man. 2 weeks ago they played the Cardinals on the road and only put up 15 points. Like Cardinals are defensively not even close to where the Browns are at, even with the injuries. I'm gonna ride with Corey on this one. I'm taking the Browns.
Let's go, Bob.
Take the Browns at home.
It deserves to be split, if I'm being honest. Like this one was actually legitimately difficult for me to pick. Had the Browns lost to the Ravens last week, I probably would have taken the Browns here because I think the ball would have bounced in a different way for Jameson.
Well, I mean, also with Todd having such a commanding lead, like there's got to be games that we pick differently. Can't catch up if there's not some some differentiation. So I'm gonna kind of ride this one. I think this is a game this week that's a coin flip. So I think the Browns at home, I think it's a very good opportunity for them to win a game, especially with some positive changes, around that organization, albeit due to injury, but still, nevertheless, positive changes. So, all right, let's move forward. We got the Patriots coming off of whatever you want to call that win against the Jets.
A divisional win. That's what that is.
There it is. Thank you for the assist. So do you have to throw your hat when it's an assist? Or is it a flag? How does that work?
I just keep zipping this down just a little bit more every time I give you the alley-oop.
Join the club, brother. You know what I'm saying?
And by the end of the night, it's going to be at my belly button.
Full frontal.
Ready.
Okay.
All right. Well. Hey, who else isn't wearing pants? No.
You guys own pants?
You'll never.
All right.
Know. God, that would have been if we had a soundboard and just a shotgun. That would have been so sweet right there.
Yeah.
All right. They are on the road in Nashville, taking on the Tennessee Titans.
Sorry, what game is this? I'm flying by the seat.
Patriots on the road
Patriots
in Tennessee.
Right.
Yeah, Patriots on the road in Tennessee. Corey, you can lead this one off. Who you got?
Give me that Titans defense at home. I'll go with the Titans.
All righty. Anything other than a guttural feeling here?
Yeah, I think that defense has been playing good football overall. Just throughout the entire season. So I think just being at home, Patriots don't really scare me a whole lot. It's not like it was a barn burner last week.
Did you see how many points the Lions put up?
Yeah, no. I think the Lions are absolutely an outlier. Like, let's be.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think that was a SEC school versus a MAC school.
No, it was. And the funny thing about that is even though they put up 52 points, it was like they kept getting the ball in like the 35.
Right.
Yeah.
And they had
so it's hard to blame them.
When they have 35 points on the board and less than 100 yards of total offense, like that's nuts. Or whatever.
You can't really blame the defense for that.
Yeah.
Oops. So give me overall though this season the Titans have played pretty good solid defense. So I have nothing on the Patriots that's getting me going like holy shit they're going to put up a lot of points, especially going on the road into Tennessee. So yeah, give me the Titans on this one.
Okay, Aaron.
Yeah, this is like Saints Panthers where I'm like I don't fuck this game. Do not care at all. Fine, let's take the Patriots. I don't care.
You're taking the Patriots.
I'm going to take the Patriots. Yeah, because
okay.
I do not care about this game, and I think both teams are bad. Do we know what's going on with Drake May? Is he just
not that good from what I'm seeing?
No, he's been fine. I think he's been fine throwing the ball. To be honest, I know he got injured last game.
Yeah, he was concussed.
So he'll probably be back. He's got that young brain.
Yeah,
hasn't been bounced around too often yet.
Todd. Yet.
Jesus.
Well,
Quail man.
It is a rebuilding franchise, so we all know what happened to David Carr when he got drafted by the Texans. Yeah, I'm gonna ride with old Flower Rain over here. I'm gonna take the Titans at home. The Titans actually run the ball pretty well. And the Patriots just lost Uche to the Chiefs. So I'm not really sure who's going to tackle anybody. Right? Like, that's kind of where I'm at with New England. I understand. I mean, and your coach is calling you soft. Like,
I'm assuming
vibes are bad.
Put somebody else in this position.
I don't know. I think you just
I'm
go out there with
hoping.
10.
It's gonna rock
I think
10.
you just go out there with 10 and just say, fuck it, we ball, right? Like, let's see what happens.
We won the revolution that way. So
Yeah.
let's see what we got some muskets.
Yeah, do you think
get in the
George
woods.
Washington said who's on deck? No, he just
You
said,
know?
fuck it, we ball.
I'm pretty sure he more closely said who's on deck.
Yeah, well,
George, what do you think?
tomato,
Fuck it, we ball, dude.
Yeah, tomato. We're saying the same thing a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously this is a fucking shit show, but yeah, I'm taking the Titans at home. This is an easy one for them to not go 1-16, right? Like they could pick up a second win here, and I'm really excited to see who's going to duke it out for that top 5 draft pick. I think this is a good week that's going to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 2 shit teams, you roll with the home team, and that's what I'm doing here. Taking the Titans.
Also, these games kind of fucking suck this week.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just
Like,
terrible.
Because this
Like-
game is so bad, why wouldn't I lone wolf it? If I'm wrong, whatever.
Yeah,
If I'm right, I look
yeah.
like a fucking genius.
yeah. Like,
Both
Yeah.
these teams.
That you got
suck.
to get something going at some point, Aaron. So
just
Yeah,
got
exactly.
Quailman just got through his one-on-one with his boss, shitting on
Yeah.
him for not hitting his quarterly results. He's like,
He's like, with that Q on your chest, I would have thought quality control would have been a little more important.
he just fucking ripped the shirt off.
it seems like you're just doing just enough to get by right now. Yeah.
Well, that's how much you're paying me. I'm doing
Oh.
just enough to get by.
All right. Yeah, we do. It is pretty split though. So we'll continue to pick that up. And Joshua, thank you, sir. All right. Moving on to one of the hopefully better games of the week. We got the Cowboys on the road in Atlanta, taking on Kirk Cousins, aka Kirko Chains. Man has really dove into that role just head first.
What are
He's
they
embraced
putting in
it.
the water in Atlanta?
I don't know.
I almost made it. I don't know. It's crazy.
I think he's gonna divorce his wife and just head to the trap. I think that's kind of.
Dude, wouldn't it be so sick if it comes out like 10 years from now, Kirk Cousins was just out there slaying poon in Atlanta? Wouldn't it be so funny? Wouldn't it be funny?
Yes.
Kirk Cousins starts a second family in Atlanta.
And a steakhouse
God.
/ strip club?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
Called Skirts.
God damn it.
Kirk Skirts coming at you, baby.
Kirk's Skirts.
But oh, man. Oh, shit. That was funny.
Whew.
Well,
All
we
right.
did it, guys. I'll take the
Yes.
Falcons. The Cowboys are terrible. I hate picking them.
All right, fabulous. Corey.
I agree, man.
All right, Flower coming in hot. All right, Todd.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons too. The Cowboys give us no reason to think that they're going to take one on the road, right?
Something massive would have to happen down there in order for me to change my thoughts on them this season. I don't know if there's obviously going to be games coming up that we might take the Cowboys, maybe not. Like I don't know. Like they're
Reverse
bad
t-shirt
football team
bet?
right now. No, God no.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not.
Come on, dude. It's the
I
Cowboys.
will never
But it'd be the
ever.
opposite.
bet money on the Dallas Cowboys ever again.
Do
Money,
you think
no, but
every time
pride,
someone says
whatever.
Cowboys, Bobby's nipples get hard?
They're
Cowboys.
alre- yeah.
No, but you're betting. It's the
just
other
call
way.
it my
It's
shirt
the
right
other
now.
way, Bobby.
Yeah.
You're betting on them to lose, and so much so that if they happen to win this weekend, you would have to take your shirt off until they
No.
lose again.
absolutely not.
What? Crop
It's
top?
the cow.
And
All right,
so
all right.
starts the streak.
No, I'm not. That would be hilarious if that was.
I also
that was
think Bobby was pretty drunk
would
when he
be
made
hilarious.
that deal. So
I was.
Well, pretend you are now. I
Hammered.
don't know. It would be very funny. That's
I
all
didn't
I'm
have to
gonna
work
say.
tomorrow. The beers
We'll leave
would,
it at that.
would be flowing. So
Flower
if I wouldn't have
cross-
had to go back to work today, I would probably be a little intoxicated right now. But I'm
cross
not, so.
monitor, hand him some absinthe. Just
Yeah, and you know that those are just
Reach
like
it up there.
restrictors, man. You just gotta breathe, man. You know.
Fair enough. All right, let's get to a game that we'll at least have a little bit to talk about here. We got the Raiders headed to Cincinnati to take on the old Benjis.
We don't have to talk a lot.
I got a question. I'm going to throw a grenade at you two. How hot is the seat for Zach Taylor?
According to whom?
According to
Reality?
Yeah, sure.
Not that hot.
Really?
not hot at all.
Nope.
Why?
You,
Like,
That's
not
what-
even
that
like a
would be
little
my
warm,
exact
like-
question. Why?
He's at a really nice
Aaron,
barber
Aaron,
shop,
Aaron,
and they
Aaron.
like the seat heats up or something. Not even.
Let
like
me
that
tell
warm?
you a little story about
Okay.
a man named Marvin Lewis. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's
16
allowed.
years,
That's
brother.
why. That's why. It's allowed. That's why he will still have a job.
Yeah,
So,
Mike Brown doesn't
in
seem
terms
like a
of
kind of guy who's
reality,
like,
how
let me
hot
not.
is his,
Yeah,
What?
let me pay this guy to not coach. Doesn't seem like a Mike
Yeah.
Brown type move.
in reality, we're committed. How hot is it amongst people like Todd and I? I'd say 2nd to 3rd degree burns.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like that's what it should be.
Yeah, the pulse of the fan is significantly different from reality, right? Like, you're talking about throwing the ball
This makes
behind
me
the line of
sad.
scrimmage on 4th and 1 is
Tough.
ridiculous. It's just like bad decision making.
Yeah.
Inconsistent play calling. Just it's bizarre, dude. And the problem is, and I think Corey, I don't know if I'm pretty sure Corey said, I mean, you might have said this on Twitter, like he kind of got scapegoated out of it because on the other side of the ball, there were really good athletes that made up for mistakes like that, right? Like if you went out on 4th down on 4th and 1 on a bad play call, takeaways happen, or I don't know, people got stopped on 3rd
You're talking
down.
about defensively?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So there used to be circumstances in which, hey, the game's tight. Let's get aggressive on offense and go for it. Even if we don't, we have a defense that can stop them from moving the ball down the field. Now, 2 years ago, that absolutely was a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know how much of the game you guys watched on Sunday, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. I just this is the right platform for me to get this off my chest. I said on this podcast last Wednesday that they needed to get pressure on Jalen Hurts, right? I sat right here in this corner, maybe in the middle of the fucking screen. It was like the way they beat the Eagles is if they get pressure on Jalen Hurts and make him make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he had any fucking specks from the turf on his jersey, fellas.
Yeah.
Maybe
when he slid.
Yeah. After 17 yards, it was I mean, I already kind of said, like, I took that game off of my main screen and just moved it because I was getting so upset that I could feel my fucking heart pressure or blood pressure just about to make my eyes pop out of my fucking head. It's hard to see somebody make a mistake in the game, right? We watched it against Washington where you make a mistake, you let them move the ball up and down the field at will. And then you go right back into a very similar style of quarterback who is aggressive out of the pocket, but hasn't, Jalen Hurts has been proven that he turns the ball over. Like, I'm pretty sure over the last 2 seasons, he leads all quarterbacks in turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions combined. He averaged like almost 5 seconds a drop back, dude. That's nuts. That's 3 different plays happening in that situation. There was enough time for him to regroup and then bring somebody up to throw the ball. It's infuriating. And obviously it's easy for me to sit from my fucking chair in my living room and say what's wrong. Right? Like but
yeah, but you're not paid to fix it. And that's
Right.
the fucked up part.
Right. So that's kind of what I was alluding to. There's plenty of guys that that are in that facility day in and day out who need to be asking those questions and putting in plans that stick. And that's not happening. There's just too many inconsistencies. And the fact that, your best player has to go on camera afterwards and go, yeah, winning 7 of 9 is doable. No, it's not. It's not. That's unrealistic for someone to have to say that. Football in general says that's unrealistic. Like, don't put him in the position to have to answer stupid fucking questions, because that's what's happening right now from the media to someone like Joe
But
Burrow.
what's he? They're going to ask those questions, and then what's he going to say? I mean,
he has to.
Yeah, the cure is winning. Obviously, you don't put yourselves in these situations in the first place. But yeah, I mean, just commenting on the Joe Burrow part there. What's he supposed to say?
No, I'm not saying he said the wrong thing. I'm just saying that he has to say that they have to win 7 of 9 is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
Because we right now we're in this current stature where there's still it's great. Like, there's a glimmer of hope that like things can turn around. Right? People still believe that there's things that can. It's
very small, but yes. I mean, yes. It's very hard, but yes.
Yeah. Two things from last week's hate parade that I still think hold true are I think the Eagles are frauds, and I obviously don't think the Bengals are contenders this year.
Yeah. And that's honestly is the most, it just makes me sad, man. Like, I'm just frustrated as fuck.
You should be.
It's
there's a lot of talent on that football team.
And like I love the Bengals, you know what I mean? And I've been so proud of that football team for the last couple of years, rightfully so. And for them to just absolutely, thus far, let me put this caveat in there, because it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Yeah. Things can change. 7 of 9. That's what has to happen. If it doesn't happen, we're fucked. But that's what has to happen. And until it doesn't, then it can. Right? So for them to completely fucking misuse the talent that is on this roster is exactly where I was going, Bobby. For them to just absolutely just be this negligent about the opportunity, because we knew what the fucking gaps were this year coming into the season. We knew what they were. It was defensive line. That was so fucking evident after the draft. It was not even, it was like, well, yeah, assuredly we're going to address this. Zero depth and zero production in the pass rush. When is the front office going to be taken accountable at all for just absolutely missing on 2 pass rushers that they drafted in the first 2 rounds, respectively? 3. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. No, is it? No, 2. Sorry. Joseph Asai. Was he? I think he was 3rd round, and Miles Murphy was 2nd round. Or 1st round? Miles Murphy was 1st round.
Yeah.
Pick.
He was a late 1st round pick. Yeah.
He's a 1st round pick. And we're whiffing on. Absolutely whiffing. So yeah, it's just frustrating, man. It's just frustrating because I know how good Joe is. I wholeheartedly think that he is the best quarterback in football, bar none. It's just I see it every week, man. I see this guy just make insane throws. And he's consistently every fucking game he has to be the reason they win. He absolutely cannot be any less than that, or they'll lose. Yeah. And that having that on you every fucking game is crazy.
That's what you paid the big bucks for, though.
It's brutal.
Yeah, and that's why he does. You're right. That's fair. It's 100% fair. That's why he is the highest paid quarterback in football. That's why he's there. But time and time again he does it, and time and time again, like Todd was talking about earlier, he's put in positions to where he's not really set up to be successful. So that's tough, man. It's tough because they have so much talent around that team.
Yeah,
so much.
Pop saying the Bengals should at least be 6-2. They've lost a lot of games they shouldn't have this year.
Yeah,
so
well, and too, like, obviously the direct people who don't understand how football works be like, well, they're not putting up 30 points anymore. Well, shit, even when they were, they fucking lost games, right? Like that's it. Yeah. Like, like
call it.
Like when you're humming at that level and you're still losing games, like you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yep.
Right? I just don't know why. I don't know why we're not like They haven't embraced their identity. They keep trying to be like the 2013 Rams or whatever. They keep trying to be that kind of, let's have a really strong running game and support it with just really a lot of threats all over the place, or whatever year that was. I don't know what year it was, but I'm talking about like the Gurley times. Like that's what they're trying to reproduce with this. That's not who they are. They're a throwing offense. Throw the ball 50 fucking times if you have to, and supplement it. Use the running game as kind of to use it to open up the fucking running game. You have Joe Burrow. Throw the football more often than you have to. Just do it. Because the offense fucking moves when he gets going. Like, I don't know how long we have to wait to try to identify this or try to be something that is just not working. Zach Taylor,
well, I mean, it seems like that would be
not good at it.
That's the best philosophy based on the personnel that they have. Obviously, with the receivers, I know. I don't think Higgins didn't play last week, right?
No.
Right. But I mean, like, and Brown's good. Moss has his moments too, but I mean, you can still utilize the running backs and the short passing game as an extension of the run game when you're passing the ball. And if you are taking deep shots like that, you're going to be putting up 7s instead of 3s, and that's what's going to support your defense. I mean, Corey, I agree with you. Like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing, and it's part of the reason I'm asking why if Taylor's on the hot seat, because I think that's what everybody else sees, and we're very grateful that the most important people in your town don't. Because quite frankly, it's like taking the teeth out of a shark. And you're like, all right, well, this thing can gum you to death. But...
Hold on, let's speak some truths as well. Jamar Chase up until last week was leading the league in reception touchdowns. Joe Burrow was top 4 in most passing categories. So no, all I'm saying is, while yes, they can do more to run the offense through the pass, they still are doing it at a high rate. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I can imagine that those numbers would be a lot higher if their usage rate was even higher, as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I just, last little 2 cents on it. Yeah, I think we've seen time and again Zach Taylor has really struggled, when the game's on the line, to make the right calls. At the end of the day, I think that's a really big reason why I think he should be on the hot seat. He doesn't make good decisions. He doesn't make good play calls. He lacks aggression when aggression is needed. There's times where he's very passive when punting the ball instead of going for it on 4th and 2 and or 4th and short, I should say. I think there's a lot of opportunity for growth there in a decision making standpoint, and I think it's the reason that, like, if the Bengals could move on and just get a better coach with try to keep most of that talent, they might have a shot. But at the rate they're going, it's not they're not even close.
Burrow doesn't seem like the type of guy that would carry himself like a Rodgers or somebody who's going to make waves to get his coach fired. I don't really see Joe Burrow like that. And knowing how, like you guys were alluding to earlier with Mike Brown and how they treat the head coach position, I think that's the only way it happens, because the
only way it happens is if Joe
Burrow makes waves.
Yeah, if he
I don't see that in his personality.
I don't think he sees it in his personality, but I think if Joe Burrow walked into Mike Brown's office and told him that that's what he wanted, it would happen.
I agree.
I don't think. I think Mike Brown would actually do more if he didn't make waves. If you make waves, Mike Brown will sit in the fucking mud like a boulder. You will not move him.
He doesn't deal with pissed off little kids. He deals with adults.
So I think if he actually did go up and just speak to him and he said that, then that's – I just also want to make this comment. Like, Lou Anarumo is not safe either at this point, boys and girls. That's the point I was making online earlier this week. If you saw me rage tweeting, it's that Lou Anarumo was bailed out a lot of the times because he had big playmakers on the team. Playmakers that aren't there anymore, right? Like a Larry Ogunjobi or a DJ Reader or a Jesse Bates, right? A lot of these guys
you were fucking
plays.
acid rain on Twitter last week, not flower rain.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I found my center since then, boys. So the point I'm trying to make is 0 adjustments throughout the game. All right, 0 adjustments throughout the entire game, doing nothing to generate pressure on Jalen Hurts. That isn't on Zach Taylor.
Sure.
That's not his fault. Is it his responsibility? Absolutely. But it's not his fault it happened. But he has to be responsible for it, right? You see the distinction? Zach Taylor is not at fault for that. Lou Anarumo is responsible for that, or at fault for that. So Just so fucking frustrating. Anyway, I'm gonna get my yeah. One of the first 7
All right,
wins
boys.
comes right
I'm
this week.
assuming
Give me the
we are
Bengals.
still all taking the Bengals. With all that being said,
I guess.
Do you want to take the Raiders?
I am taking the Bengals. Yeah, but
Okay, got it.
No idea.
Yeah, this
I
is
don't know
coin
who's
flip.
going to show up.
Yeah,
I don't know
You
coin
who's
see
gonna
what the
flip.
show up.
spread is on this shit?
I don't feel
7.
good about this game, but I'm taking the
Touchdown.
Bengals.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
So-
that is the difference in the level of talent this year of the NFL. Like, and again, not kicking you guys way down. Browns are a bad team. The Bengals are a bad team this year. Then there's a fucking crap. It's like it's the Moneyball thing. Then there's 50 feet of crap. Then there's the Panthers and Raiders.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty, gentlemen. We got Bo Nix and the Broncos taking things to Baltimore.
Bo Nix is going to play a fucking playoff game this year, isn't he?
It's pretty crazy.
Dude,
Kind of
slinging it.
it's sitting that way right now, right?
I
Yeah,
can't
5-3, man.
fade that so hard.
You said what? You said what?
I said I can't wait to fade that so hard.
Uh-uh.
Bo Nix plays a playoff game. Are you kidding me?
Well, all right, boys.
I mean, that future's available right now to make the playoffs. Broncos.
No. I'm not talking about to make the playoffs. I'm saying I think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs, and then I cannot wait to bet on the team that plays them.
Oh, yeah.
Got
Okay.
it.
Got you.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, Ravens obviously coming off a tough loss last week. It was, divisional opponent. They did not look good. They just couldn't seem to get anything going against that defense. That's kudos to the Browns and the way they were able to, shut down that seemingly unstoppable offensive attack and, especially the run game. Yeah, boys, I think this is going to be probably one of the better games. I'm hoping it's going to be one of the better games. Broncos defense is nothing to scoff at either. So could be a pretty similar matchup, kind of between the Broncos and Ravens as it was last week against the Browns. So I have no idea what I'm going to do in this game. I really don't.
Pick it.
'Cause I really
Oh,
I really do think the Broncos can win this football game.
Yeah, they can.
I'm going to take the Broncos this week, boys. I'm going to take a flyer. This is my flyer this week.
I love that.
I think the Ravens are struggling right now. But who knows? Maybe they'll come out there and just kick the dog shit out of them. But I've been picking the Ravens every week, and they have just not looked great. So in the last couple, so I'm gonna take the Broncos here. Just gut pick. No other feelings.
I was gonna dog it for a second, and then they start 0-2. You can really make the argument that they should have lost to the Bengals, and they blew a game last week. I think they're the most volatile team in the NFL. But I think if you were to split the NFL into thirds, they're still, in my opinion, a top third team. And by that, I mean they're a legitimate contender. But they're just so freaking volatile. So I think this is a fair one to take a flyer on, Bobby. I don't think you're crazy. Broncos defense is really good. I'm going to stick with the Ravens, though. I think them losing last week is one of those things where it's like, all right, we're figuring it out, kicking the butt. Like, I think this is just going to be a team that has a couple face plants this year, but if they can get hot at the right time at the end, this team's still really good. They make the trade for Johnson. I think that'll be interesting to see what that does for the defense. I don't even necessarily bless you.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily know that that's going to make that big of an impact on this game, of course, but Lamar Jackson last week was the odds-on MVP, and I think they figure it out again this week. They're back home, and Bo Nix is doing just enough, but I'm still watching these games where I'm like, ugh, I don't like that.
Cool. Corey.
Yeah. Isn't Lamar banged up?
They gave him a rest today.
Yeah, he didn't practice today, right?
Yeah, he had a little knee and back issue, so he took a day off.
Do it.
What's the spread on this one?
No idea.
9.5.
Oh my god.
Money is all to Denver right now, too, by the way.
Yeah, of course it is. I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just telling you. Christ.
Yeah.
Denver to cover 9.5. It's,
I can't take the
generous.
Ravens. I can't. Yeah, they're a top 3 team in the league to me.
Bobby's starting to think his gut feeling is IBS. So
No, I'm still here for the Broncos.
No, I don't. Bobby, I legitimately thought about riding with you, bro. Like I legitimately thought about it.
cool.
I was right there, but I can't. I gotta go with the Ravens.
All good, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to take the Ravens. I got a pretty decent lead amongst the 4 of us, so I feel pretty good where I'm at right now.
now I will say 9.5. I do kind of like Broncos plus 9.5.
Oh, yeah.
Not to,
Yeah.
We don't need to really go down that road, but like that's for sure an interesting line there.
We'll know a lot more tomorrow. I'm curious what Lamar's like.
Yeah,
If it was
pull
just a
that up,
rest day
actually.
or if there is something going on with him.
Apparently, there's a pretty good game 5 going on right now. So I'm
Yeah, it's tied up 5-5, top of the 5th.
Oh boy.
I'm signing in right now to the old YouTube television.
Useful tool that.
It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right, let's move on here to potentially the worst game of the slate. The Bears
Christ.
on the road in Arizona.
No,
It's
what?
worse.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Worse
game
than the
isn't
Saints
even-
and Panthers?
I think we're talking about the same shit.
These are two decent teams.
the Caleb Williams is trash.
What the fuck are
No,
you talking
he's
about?
not.
Caleb Williams is absolutely
You hate-
trash.
No,
just
he is
hate him.
not.
He's
Yeah.
not trash.
He cost me in 2 leagues.
Oh my
Last week.
god!
You can't, dude. You cannot say he's trash because of fantasy football. That's garbage.
Bro, he had like 80 yards passing.
Don't be mad at
Okay,
him.
well,
'cause
I
you
could
can't
say
manage
I could
this
say
thing.
Jordan Love's trash then, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Love's trash. He
Yes.
cost me
Yep.
in the league,
I'm just joking.
right? You can't trash a guy for just having a bad week.
And also, they should have won the game, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
He kind
They
of
won-
did his part. If we're really gonna break it down,
They won because some guy on the Bears was bullshit with the fucking fans before the game was over, like a dumbass.
Yeah, that was nuts. What an insane finish. That was the last game I watched last week before I passed out, but man, I don't know. That's the first time I think I've like been like holy shit at a sports moment like in a long time. Like that was nuts.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, but again, it's 4-3 versus 4-14, Bob. I'm actually kind of excited about this one, if we're being honest. Number 1 pick, number 4 pick.
I'm not exactly thrilled about it.
All right. Well, why don't you lead us off here? Get that out of the way.
I don't fucking know, man.
Bobby hates Caleb Williams so much.
He does.
There was a black hole like void left when Pete Carroll and somehow Caleb Williams got shoved in there.
Yep, absolutely. Give me the Bears.
After all that,
The Cardinals
just-
suck too. So
Tez, just the Ravens Broncos game.
Broncos on the road in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yep. Just give me the Bears. Bounce back week for the Bears. That's where I'm at. Somebody else go.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I feel okay with taking the Bears this week. I feel like that's not a bad pick, right? Like, I mean, we're only 2 weeks removed. Obviously, I know that the Jaguars are a little sus, as the kids would say, but 2 weeks ago they scored 35 points. The week before that they scored 36. The Commanders are arguably the hottest team in football, and they stuck right with them. And as Aaron said, should have beat them until a ridiculous Hail Mary. This is not a bad team. And this is this is Chicago football. This is a very, very good defense. Yeah, I think this is a really nice opportunity for Chicago to get the offense right, and for them to get back to where they were 2 weeks ago. Let air it out and let's run. So I'm taking the Bears here too.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah, me too. Todd, that was exactly my point when we were trying to talk sense into Bob there for a second. Is the Bears should have won the game last week against what we were considering the hottest team in football. Like, this is a good team. Caleb Williams, his stats look very healthy to me right now. He's got a nice 9 touchdown to 5 interception rate. He's hitting almost 63% completion. He's at over 1,400 yards. He's got a nice 85% quarterback rating. Like, everything looks pretty solid to me. Like, I think they're looking at that pick going, yep, we made the right pick. He's making his progressions. He's getting better week in and week out. Last week maybe came back down a little bit, but even then still put his team in the position to win the game at the end. Yeah, I'm taking the Bears here. I'm taking the Bears here emphatically.
Flower.
I like all the things you were just saying about the Bears, but I just feel good about the Cardinals right now. It's not anti-Bears by any means. I think you guys are right. This is a really good game. I like this matchup a lot. I just feel good about the Cardinals right now, and especially at home. Yeah, go ahead, give me the Cardinals in this one. Crazy, but I'm getting one or two more in. So they're not going to have very many more opportunities because remember, we don't cut the bird after. We don't bet on the red bird after the bird. We cut the bird. The bird? What's the word? Anyway, give me the Cardinals.
Wonderful. All right. Let's see here. Next game on deck. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars headed to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles.
I mean, this is a slam dunk. I think the Eagles destroy them.
Yeah, I feel like anybody opposed? Take the Eagles. I don't know. The Jaguars actually were pretty competitive last week against the Packers, more so than I thought they were going to be. And it was a tighter spread last week. I think it was like -4 or something, and I was shocked by that.
Jordan Love's banged up.
Give me the Doug Peterson revenge tour here, guys. I think the Eagles suck.
Okay,
I really do. And suck is a strong word. Like, they're not bad. They're going to probably make the playoffs. I don't think Jalen Hurts is as good as he is. And I'm looking at like the Yahoo pick'em, and it's like 98% Eagles to 2% Jaguars. And that's insane to me. Like, both of these teams are not good, in my opinion.
I mean, is there any argument for you are who your record says you are at this point in the season? I mean, we're week 10, 9, week 9.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-2.
I know. This is the reverse IBS gut feeling for me. I don't know why. I'm feeling strong about it. This is a 7.5 spread. That's disgusting. The Jags are 2-6. That's disgusting. Doug Peterson coming back to Philly where he won the Super Bowl, and he's staying the coach for the whole season somehow, or he'll be fired immediately after this game.
Yeah, they're gonna lose 49.
Hey, they're gonna put a bullet in the back of his head as his favorite cheesesteak spot.
Right. Ask him if he still has that apartment.
Like, hey, take your first bite.
Philly. Drop him off in Kensington and just tell him to go fuck himself. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you drop him off in Kensington, Philly will do the rest.
Oh, shit. All right, boys. Let's move on to an NFC matchup here. I'm so sorry.
I don't think Corey picked either.
Nope.
So the Jaguars did lose Christian Kirk for the season last week. I don't know if that really matters much to what their offense is. But I'm taking the Eagles here too. I think I just want to touch on Corey's question of, is your record who you say you are? I still don't really feel that way about Philadelphia. Something tells me this is very similar to the Vikings 2 years ago, where they just kept winning games that they weren't necessarily that they should have been in, but they just kept squeaking them out. That's where I feel like Philadelphia is right now.
Eagles last year, maybe.
Well, they emphatically won until something happened to like week 11 and they just fucking fell apart. But I don't know. I'm not sold on Philadelphia just, being like a true contender in the NFC at this
They're
point.
probably going to the playoffs.
Probably.
Sure.
I feel like this is a weird haves and haves not year where you're going to have a couple teams squeak in that are just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're like I said, they're 5-2. We were just talking about the Broncos at 5-3. Like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna go to the playoffs too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so I think the Eagles are. Yeah, like you said, I think there's a pretty steep drop off. I think the NFC overall is more competitive, but I think especially in the AFC, there's a steep drop off. Which why teams like the Broncos and why a team like the Bengals who have all the tools. You're not really out of it because there's not really going to be a whole lot of divisions that are super saturated with a lot of teams going to the playoffs this year. Those wild card spots are going to go to some bad football teams,
right,
in the AFC. So, just something to watch for.
Absolutely. Okay. So Todd has the Eagles. Corey, you also took the Eagles.
Yeah. I think they're legit.
Do you think when the Bengals are finally eliminated, Flower Rain will turn into Flower Pain and just be like, come on, you're all goth?
It's going to put you in a mansion somewhere in
Wisconsin.
Michigan.
Maybe so. Hopefully that day doesn't come, though. No, it's just like good vibes, man. Good vibes.
All right. Second game in the 4:00 slate. It's going to be the Rams taking things north up to Seattle, take on the Seahawks. Man, Rams looked like a completely different football team last week.
Really did.
Boy, I'll tell you, right?
That's a big difference when you get your number one, your number two targets back in that offense. Wow. So, yeah, I'll lead it off again. I'm taking the Rams. I would say the Rams win by at least 10.
Oof. Fuck it, we ball.
Fuck it, we ball. George Washington. Somebody said it. So.
Yep.
It's in the Emancipation Proclamation, about 2/3 of the way down.
Got it. It was edited by Thomas Jefferson. All right. Todd, you're up. Who you got?
Aaron Burr snuck that in. It's a little history joke for you guys.
That's what I'm going to dress up as next year.
Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just Burr for me.
Just going to be envious of everyone. Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too here, fellas. I said it at the beginning of this podcast, and I firmly believe it. This matchup, I think one of these two teams will probably win the NFC West, which is wild. But yeah, I think the Rams are right now with everyone. This is obviously barring health, all the circumstances. This Rams team can win the NFC West. Kyren Williams is a very, very good running back in this league. Obviously, we know what Cooper Kupp is. Puka Nacua came back and looked like he was 100% when, we were all kind of, it didn't pop up until Wednesday. Like, ooh, there's a chance he might play tomorrow. And then you hear all the way leading up to the game, he's going to get some snaps. We're going to keep an eye on him. And then he just becomes their leading producer on offense. And yeah, I think that Matt Stafford is a very, very good quarterback and understands that he has an opportunity to kind of ride this thing out one more year, for the rest of this year and potentially get back into the playoffs again. And I think that this is going to be kind of like 130% effort from LA moving forward. So give me the Rams here in a divisional matchup on the road.
Sure. Aaron.
Corey.
Did I start with you, Aaron?
No,
Nope. He just assists.
I've
He
gone
just
first or second every time, and
This
part
is
of it's because
like
I
a
just jumped in. But I
that was a Jackie
I'm
Wilson.
Wilson.
good. Let me take it.
so Corey was open in the corner for 3. You got to pass up for a better shot.
Sorry.
We ball like Swish. So I think we're just looking at two teams that are on different ends of the roller coaster hill right now. I think the Seahawks are reeling a bit, boys. They've lost 4 out of their last 5 football games.
Yep.
That ain't good. And the Rams, all vibes are right now, brother. You know what I'm saying? All vibes are right. Give me the Rams, man. Give me the Rams.
All right, perfect.
Fuck.
Aaron.
That means
Yeah,
Aaron
like
thinks
I'm like I assume
everybody's D'd up now. It's all you, baby.
I know.
You gotta take
and
a shot.
everybody's I know. Give me Seahawks. Give me Seahawks. This is a 1.5 point spread. I think I want to take the Rams, to be honest. Their receivers are
Good
back.
fade.
I think their offense is humming. I have to fade this one.
Yeah,
And
it's a good one.
if Corey took the Seahawks, I would have stuck with the Rams. Not because I'm chasing Corey, but because I can't just let everybody ride solo on a 1.5 point spread.
Okay, fair enough. Playing
Good game of the week.
All right.
Oh, I already lost. The Rams are hammer the Rams, guys.
All right, Corey. I'll let our resident Michigan native take this next one. I got
Okay.
the Lions on the road. Lambeau.
Dude, the Lions are the best team in the NFL. It's,
It's crazy.
yeah, they're the best team in the NFL, and it's pretty cool, man. It's fun. It's fun. They're fun football to watch because they score a shit ton of points. They create turnovers. They score on special teams. Like they go for it on 4th down. They're a fun team to watch. So yeah, give me the Lions.
Sure. Yeah, I'll follow suit. I'm taking the Lions. No reason to take the Packers this week.
Jordan Love's hurt, by the
Yeah.
way. Like Jordan Love is hurt. He did not play well last week, and he is hurt.
Absolutely.
So
Jared Goff dealing with a little bit of an ankle. Don't think it matters.
there's a lot of noise going around in Detroit right now with JMO, obviously. I don't know if you guys saw this. He got arrested. I'm sorry. He's being investigated. Sorry. It seems like he'll get arrested. At least that's what I last heard. For a gun charge.
So
So
Aaron,
Well, it's on
any
top of the
objections?
suspension, too.
I said it last week. I know you weren't on with us, Bobby, but if you want to save yourself some time, you can just put me down from here till week 18 for Lions. They're the best in football, and I will just take the Lions every single week. I don't care.
Roger that. Yeah, I don't see any reason why Todd will be straying. So, any comments?
I think the big thing with Jordan Love being banged up, if we do see Malik Willis,
2-0 as a Packer.
right. I just think that schematically, Detroit will figure out a way to get Malik Willis incredibly uncomfortable, and we'll see a similar game to where he couldn't complete a pass to a wide receiver last year. Like this is going to be, they're going to hammer the fuck out of him.
I think any team that's playing the Lions right now is going to have to figure out how can we score 35 points minimum, and what can we do to try to slow them down on offense.
Interesting fun fact about the Lions this season. I faded it this week with my pick earlier tonight. Every team that has lost to the Lions goes on to lose the next week.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Or played the Lions. Yeah, they go on to lose. Maybe it's they've only lost one football game. So more often than not, teams that play them go on to lose the next week. If it's not every game, it's every win. Yeah, pretty crazy. But I'm
changed my pick to the Patriots.
Yeah, the Titans are Lions.
Oh,
So,
sorry guys.
I'm fading
that
it too,
vault
Bob.
is locked.
Oh shit!
I feel so much better about that now.
Quail Man closing his office door.
Thanks, Flower.
All right, boys. On to the Sunday night show.
You're welcome.
Between Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold.
What year is it?
Flack attacks back, Jack.
Yeah, I know we talked about it at the top of the show, but yeah, Anthony Richardson, man, the Colts need to just trade him at this point. Like he has no
For what?
Why?
Yeah, I don't know what they'd get for him, but like he obviously has no command over that locker room. None of his teammates respect him. You tag out because you're tired.
Nah,
Like
fuck the Colts, man. That's fucked up.
you could have at least said you had to take a shit or something.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's they're passing the buck right here in this shit. I think Anthony Richardson's getting a bunch of unwanted bullshit for this whole thing. I think,
actually kind of agree with Corey.
yeah, Brian Flores even went out and said, he was like, I watched him push a 300-pound man off of him and then go scramble for 5 minutes and try and make a play. So like, I was tired fucking watching him do what he was doing out there. And then, yeah, if he subbed out because he's like, I cannot make the best play for the team right now. So what he did was an unselfish thing. He could have stayed in there and then fucked something up or ran a half-ass run, check to a run or something like that. He tapped out. Do something else about it, coach. That for the organization to put that out there, because that's what happened.
That's the crazy thing to me is how it leaked out.
Yeah,
more than anything.
To put that out there is the most fucked up shit in the world to a guy that you drafted 5th overall. That's just fucking stupid. I don't get it.
Well, basically,
they haven't done right by him all year. They have not done right by him all fucking year. They've absolutely fucked his development, which is sad. Really.
Didn't think about it.
I think
like
it's a little A, little B. I don't think he's necessarily blameless in this situation, but I also agree with you, Corey.
Sure.
I don't think the Colts have done necessarily right by him. But at the same time, like, what I'm mad at him for not lying that he had the wind knocked out of him or something.
Yeah.
Like, all he had to say was, "I had the wind knocked out of me."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's what
he'll do. Yeah, guess what he'll do next time.
Well, and that's what Josh Downs said too. Josh Downs was like, "Why do you say I ain't gonna lie? Fucking lie, dude. Don't say that you just took yourself out of the game."
Yeah.
So
he's just young as fuck, dude. He's so raw. He really
so
is.
This is right. So I think, to me, honestly, this is, I don't agree with, if injured, whatever, like, a quarterback doesn't do that, right? Like, we're in unprecedented waters.
I don't disagree.
having a quarterback take himself out of a play or out of the game intentionally, right? We've never been through this before. My gut reaction as well is like, what the fuck? That's ridiculous. So I understand the majority going, hey, we don't do that, because they're right. You don't do that in football. The culture is still to tough it out. But I think Anthony Richardson is just an immature kid. I think that's really what a lot of this comes down to, is he doesn't have the mental toughness to be able to go into
toughness. I would just call it knowledge at this point. He just doesn't know how to navigate this world.
Sure. You know what I mean? Toughness, tenacity, knowledge, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't have, it's not built into his DNA yet for him to go into that press conference and go, yeah, I was in a situation where I got the wind knocked out of me. I wasn't going to give my team the best effort, and I needed to come out. I didn't want to go down, but I needed to come out. That's maybe 30 other quarterbacks make that statement on the podium. I just think that he's just a kid. He's an immature kid. Like,
and he's been probably taught, hey, be honest. It's better than lying. And so that's what he did.
Right. But I personally did not like, and again, nobody would have known this unless the Colts brought it out. Right. That sucks for him.
That's the weird part. So like, I don't disagree. Like, what Richardson did is not, what a football player does.
Yeah. Right.
But football players also keep that shit in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So you're right. I think, the majority of this is on Indianapolis, and then Shane Steichen went up and fucking basically passed blame or took no accountability for what's going on.
Yep.
I think that is, they are just a very, very poorly managed franchise as a whole.
I really liked him too. I really like him still. This is a you don't forget those types of things when you think about it.
No, and your locker room doesn't forget that either. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, the media is unforgiving in a bazillion ways. When you have to address the media day in and day out, and you go up there and you basically pass the buck and take no accountability for things that are going on in your locker room, because at the end of the day, you are the head coach. These are professional athletes, but you are the head coach. And you basically say you don't have the pulse on what's going on in there. That's nuts. Like, everything is fucked from that point on. So I could see them, like, tailwinding way out of this for the rest of the year. I could see this franchise going in a totally different direction because they're 4-4 and they've played some really close games. I think every game they've played has been 6 points or less. Like they've been in every game, but I could very much see things going in a different direction. And then there being a lot of knee-jerk reactions from that, right? Maybe I don't think Anthony Richardson gets traded necessarily, but I see a lot of pieces of that falling apart. It was just all parties involved in that completely fucked that up, and whoever's supposed to coach these guys on how to handle media day in the Colts organization, they got to get
the only
fired.
2 first-round picks to be benched by their team and make the playoffs with that team: Rex Grossman, Alex Smith.
Wow.
Hell of a stat right there.
Nice
All right. All that being said, Colts on the road in Minnesota. I'm assuming we're all taking the Vikings here. Maybe not.
I'm taking the Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not completely out on the Colts, I think that they can do something with Joe Flacco. So I think Joe's a professional. I think he's going to go out there and try and win football games. So I think the Colts are going to still be a pretty decent football team moving forward.
Yeah. Just a note too, something I saw today. First 5 weeks, Minnesota best run defense. Last 2 weeks, worst run defense. So something to make note of if you're, a degenerate like the 4 of us are, and you're looking for a little proppy prop for Jonathan Taylor. If you want to boost your odds a little bit, this is a good week to do so.
Absolutely. Aaron, you got any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I actually think this is a perfect little potion we see sometimes in the NFL, where we have this weird little locker room story. We have Joe Flacco, the professional, coming in on Sunday Night Football. I'm taking the fucking Colts here, guys. The Vikings have dropped their last 2. I think Sam Darnold has played pretty out of his mind, and we've seen him come back to earth a little bit, but he still has Justin Jefferson as a weapon out there. Is Hockenson going to be back?
He is supposed to play Sunday,
so that'll be interesting. But it also, are they going to feel forced to try to get him involved, and is there going to be a little bit of a half step slow kind of thing? I don't know. Yeah. That's just me throwing some stuff against the wall on the other side of the pick I just made. But actually, Todd, you just said it. You're talking about a run defense in Minnesota, who the last 2 weeks has not looked that great. You go back and look at that schedule. That Jets almost loss in England right before this 2 games looks a little interesting. They handled the Texans, certainly close against the Packers, and of course they had a great game against the Lions. And those are all really, really good teams. I think we're sleeping a little bit on the Colts, and I actually think they play better with Flacco. And I think with this story that we've seen hanging around here in Indianapolis, a couple guys a little upset with the way that things have transpired this week. And it's kind of like one of those, hey, we fired the coach, here we go kind of games. And I think the Vikings are right for the taking in this one.
All righty, fair enough. Aaron rolling lone wolf with the Colts.
I got a lot this week, and it's either going to come back or I'm going to just explode.
Yeah,
but I think this is the week to fade some shit. Yeah, I really do.
You're either going to climb the leaderboard or continue to dig a little deeper. We'll see how it goes, man. Last but not least, we've got the unbeaten Chiefs at home against the Buccaneers. I'm going to say it, guys. Baker Mayfield's elite. I've said it. I'll continue to say it. I genuinely think he's elite. He lost his best 2 receivers, and he went out and threw 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they had an opportunity to win that game last week. They've had so many games this year where they've been close, and they've been shootouts, and the defense, it's kind of let them down a little bit. But the fact that he can go out there and spread the ball around to 9 different people, without his best 2 weapons, I think Baker Mayfield has crawled into that class of elite. I really do.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to be a hater or dissuade what you say. To me, I think he's kind of crawled into that Jared Goff range where I think we were all a little too quick to rush to judgment. And with the situation around him being perfect, which it's not necessarily right now in Tampa, but before Godwin and Evans went down, like that's, for any quarterback, that's going to be a really good situation to be in. This guy can absolutely fucking succeed on NFL Sundays. There's no doubt about that. Like, there's no doubt about that anymore. I don't know that I would cross the bridge to elite. But whatever we consider Jared Goff, I think Baker Mayfield should be right there.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, Aaron, who you got this week, brother?
I'm still going to take the Chiefs. I'll just keep batting them until I see otherwise. Hopkins coming in. We'll see how that plays out. Don't know that it'll necessarily make a huge change here week one, but we basically have seen Travis Kelce slide right into the the Rashee Rice role that they had in the first 3 weeks seamlessly, which, hey, go figure. The guy who's been really good at this for a really long time. Still quite okay, guys. They're just winning games, and sometimes it's the defense playing lights out. Sometimes it's, we want to say the refs. Sometimes it's the offense actually making a couple plays. They just do just enough every goddamn week. And Tampa Bay is still shorthanded. I give Baker all the props in the world, but this is a tall task with a lot of guys out.
All right. Corey.
Have the Chiefs played a big game on the road yet? I was thinking about that.
That's what I was just looking at.
They opened against Baltimore. Obviously, Bengals came in there.
No, they played the Raiders on the road last week. Or the week prior. Yeah, last week. They played the 49ers on the road and won 28-18. That's probably their biggest game was week 7.
I'd say that was going into that, we thought that was going to be a really big matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Just curious.
I mean, they played the Chargers back in week 4.
Yeah.
Those are all divisional. Like, maybe every team has either one extra or one under home game every year. I don't know how it shakes out.
See, I'm gonna
wash.
I think Baker doesn't. I don't think Baker needs like elite weapons. I think Baker's number one skill is distributing the football. I think elite weapons absolutely help, but his number one ability is to be able to spread the ball around and get everybody involved.
He diversifies that portfolio.
Yes,
absolutely. It's like, we're obviously going to grab some GameStop, but let's talk about some ETFs.
Yeah, absolutely. The Chiefs have to lose a football game, right?
Yeah.
They have to.
Probably.
They have to. They're not that good. At least they don't look that good, right? It's like they're blowing people out. Give me Tampa.
Fuck.
Let me lone wolf this one too, Todd.
The Chiefs. Yeah, lone wolf the Chiefs.
Fucking 8.
Let me just bring a little bit of balance back to the force here.
Don't let him do it.
I'm not. I'm taking the Chiefs. I don't want to, right? Because
do it.
Now I'm taking the Chiefs. So I'm kind of with Aaron on the, Bobby and I have had this conversation about Baker Mayfield. I think we had it when it was just he and I on here, and I was like, I just can't call him elite because he turns the ball over and like just bad situations. Yeah, and he's done it a couple of different times, right? Like during the year, close games, like Atlanta. I believe in the Atlantic. First time they played Atlanta too, he had a bad interception that put Atlanta right back in position to to tie the game up in the fourth quarter. So that's where I can't I just see him mishandle the ball. But there's also certain circumstances where he makes throws where I'm like, there's just a select few guys that can do what he just did, right? Because I mean, he's pretty elusive. I did want to take the Bucks until 2 people took him. I was hoping we could split the board here. I will take the Chiefs, but I do think Corey's point is valid that I don't think Baker necessarily needs 2,000-yard receivers to do what he does. And I think Jaden McMillan on Tampa is very undervalued in terms of what I believe that he's going to bring to the table to the NFL. Obviously, being a rookie in this league as a wide receiver is challenging when you're not, a Malik Neighbors or a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. But Jaden McMillan has a lot of the tools that are also that Baker can utilize. And he stretches the field very, very well. He did that very well in Washington last year. He did it a couple of times in this game last week for Tampa. So I look for him to start producing very heavily for that offense. But I'll take the Chiefs. We'll split the board. I'm not going to let Aaron go alone on a fucking undefeated team. That's ridiculous.
What up, Rob?
What am I in last place?
Video.
I think you can let me.
I fucking
Stick to your
care about
guns,
you, man.
dude.
Relax. I care about you. Just take it.
I'm good over here, dude.
You don't have to fight this battle alone. Just fucking take it, man. Take the help. Christ.
So there is going to be a lone wolf on this game. I am taking the Chiefs.
I thought you already picked. The whole thing
No.
about
I thought you. Oh.
I did not pick.
Oh, I thought you took the Bucks.
Like a wolf in sheep's clothing, man.
Well, I honestly, if that's the case, Todd, I think you're well within your rights to switch to the Bucks.
Yeah, if you want to switch, you can switch. We're not off the
Your
game.
whole
Sorry.
reason for
You
not
haven't moved
taking
on
the
from the
Bucks
game.
was
Look,
I also thought
said
Bucks
that
took 'em.
so here's what I think. I think the Buccaneers have a very good shot to win this football game.
I do too.
My biggest issue with this game is that the Buccaneers defense sucks against tight ends. And it's historical. Kyle Pitts had a great game last week. He had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Also fumbled the ball before he got in the end zone. Nobody's fucking
did.
talking about that.
You don't need to. It's whatever.
Travis
It's
Kelce
crazy.
has a big game on Monday night, and that is ultimately going to be the difference. I'm taking the Chiefs in a very, very close game over the Buccaneers. Another tough loss for the Buccaneers this week.
This seems like a classic Chiefs win, Bucks cover.
Yep. Absolutely.
Isn't it weird that Philadelphia is 5-2 and Tampa's 4-4? And I firmly still believe that Tampa is a significantly better team than Philly. Isn't that just wild?
I'm curious if you guys have a quick second. So we were just talking about Baker Mayfield. Is he elite? Is he not? Like Todd, you're like, I agree with you. He's probably in that same type of class as Goff. I want to start with one name, and I just want to play the yes or no, right? So Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts.
Baker Mayfield.
Yep, I'll take Baker.
I'm assuming Bob would too.
Sorry, I completely missed it. What'd you say?
Would you rather have Baker or Jalen Hurts?
Baker.
Okay. Baker or Herbert?
Baker.
Baker.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll just do Baker or Goff.
Goff.
Yep, I'm taking Jared Goff. He's just safe. He's safe.
I guess it really depends on what kind of.
So I think
I think you have to take Goff. Just I think to Todd's point, he does take a little bit better care of the ball. But it's close.
So I think the term game manager comes with this like preconceived notion of like this person isn't actually good. I think when I say like Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, and Brock Purdy are elite game managers.
I don't know about Purdy, but I'm with you on the others.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put them in a lot of situations, and I think they'd look a lot worse.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about Goff in Detroit is that you guys don't want to consider. You guys want to kind of put Baker and Goff in this class kind of by themselves, where it's like they're not quite elite, but they're definitely not bottom of the barrel. I think there's a lot to be said about guys understanding their role and knowing they don't have to go out there and put up insane games every week. And I think like that's an elite mindset. Like Goff knows he doesn't have to get it done every. Like he doesn't have to go out there and throw for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns every week. Like he's got so many weapons on that team, and that running game is incredible. Like there's games where you have to lean on the run. There's games where you have to lean on Goff to make plays. Like it's having that type of selflessness to know that, the stat line doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's wins and what's best for the team. And that's an elite mindset, in my opinion. I think Baker and Goff are both elite quarterbacks in this league.
Yeah, the reason, let me just clarify. Like, I think that I went to Goff so quickly, not because of like anything negative I think about Baker, but I think it's because how highly I think of Jared Goff. I think clearly the best quarterback in at least his conference. Like, he's the best quarterback in the NFC. I don't think there's any quarterback in the NFC that you could like make a legitimate argument that you would take before Jared Goff. And so, and then when I looked at the AFC, he's a top 5 quarterback in football. It's just, it is what it is right now. That's how he's playing. And whatever style that is, he doesn't turn the football over. They score a lot of fucking points. You have to have a good quarterback to do that. Jared Goff's a good quarterback right now. He's playing a hell of a football.
No, I totally, every quarterback that I named, I would have taken over Baker. That's why I asked the questions.
Yeah.
You guys were very quick with Hurts and Herbert.
Yeah, I think I really, 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 really like Baker Mayfield a lot this year. Yeah, he's played well.
Yeah, I think it, obviously there's circumstances that go with this, but I mean, Baker's he's not over like too far removed from,
No.
I mean, obviously he won a playoff game last year, but a couple years ago he took Cleveland to the playoffs and then played the following season with a torn labrum or whatever the circumstances were for that year. And then he just was in bad scenarios, right? Again, we were talking about franchises misusing talent. Maybe he was just a misused talent in Cleveland, right? Yeah. And then, but Jared Goff,
the torn labrum was on him. Yes.
Right. He elected to play with it, right? It was his choice. So,
and he decided I gotta lay this guy out in the middle of the field after I threw a pick because I'm pissed about it.
Sure,
tear that labrum.
Whatever. Right. Well, but I guess my point is like, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl with the Rams, right? And scored a shit ton of points with the Rams there. Now you put him into Detroit and he scores a shit ton of points with Detroit and took them to the NFC Championship game and is on the trajectory to be the best team in football. Where my distance between a guy like Jared Goff and a guy like Baker Mayfield is that Baker hasn't taken that step in the quarterback position to do it for an entire season. Right.
Now, you could argue Jared Goff has been in much better situations. You could absolutely argue that.
Sure.
Yeah. But I don't think that takes anything away from it.
But I also, we're not far removed, but we're also not far removed from him being traded and a first-round pick had to be attached 100%. For the other team to take him.
100%.
And the guy just got a contract extension.
Right. So did Baker.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, having this conversation a year or two ago would sound insane.
Yeah, it would.
Sure.
I think we did. Yeah, actually. I think we did have this exact conversation.
Yeah, we just talked about who was on the chopping block 2 years ago when we were doing over under, and these were two names that we brought up as guys of like, if they don't have a good year, they're going to be.
I think it was valid then too. I think it was a valid conversation at that time.
And I think this is good for the general fan of football, though. I think there is a really, really deep bench of what I would consider second-class quarterbacks. But it's weird because it seems like each year that changes over. Like, I never would have put Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, or Baker Mayfield in that class 2 years ago and said, guess what's going to happen in 2 years? These three guys are going to be legitimate, can make playoff runs type quarterbacks.
Sure.
Never would have said that.
Yeah. No, absolutely right. We'll address a couple comments in the chat, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. Ted saying Goff's a good NFL quarterback. So is Mayfield. Goff's a step ahead of Mayfield. Maybe because of his resume. Not many elite QBs in the league.
That's true.
John popping in here. What's up, man? Goff's perfect type of QB. Perfect type of QB to needle and thread a stacked offense. And then Ted saying Baker was also in Goff's position in LA. career revived by Sean McVay.
Tez Baker didn't even
No.
finish his cup of coffee in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
come on.
Yeah, I don't. You can't claim.
Did you
success
limber up
on
before that
one.
stretch?
Well, sometimes fans get a little.
We got a flag on that one?
You
Carl?
mean when every time I hear the Browns fumbled Baker and I go,
Hey, you're not fucking blind. You took the glasses
he
off an
played
hour
for two
ago.
franchises between here and Tampa. So
I was getting a headache. Shut up. My head hurts.
Carolina being one of them.
yeah. Carolina's got to kick themselves though when you see Darnold and Baker just going off.
Yeah. Maybe that's the elixir. Hey, look out where Andy Dalton ends up next.
That dude,
That's
you
all
get
I'm
out of my
saying.
head. That's what I was gonna say.
The real one is going to be Bryce Young in a year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
right,
hammer the
ladies and-
over.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is a podcast. I know it has been a long day for all four of us here. So we're going to let you go. We will be back next week for week 10. Not sure where the season is going, but somehow next week's week 10. So best of luck to everybody for your teams, fantasy football. And until Wednesday, we'll see you then.
Happy
obviously,
Halloween.
Eat lots of candy. Have fun tomorrow. If you have any parties to go to, be safe. So I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.